So the first stage of the 2025 Dakar Rally is done. Let's talk a little bit through it, but before I get into it, I'm going to tell you why the prologue stage of the Dakar isn't really something that we can read into. Because the reason why we can't really read into the prologue of the Dakar is it is just a prologue. It's a bit like a shakedown in a way. It is timed, so the winner does get the scratch. They get an awarded stage win. But it doesn't actually mean too much, because the margins tend to be really small. It says the stage is 29 kilometers, which in the WRC, if you're a rallying fan, is, say, like a Col de Torini or an Onimpoya, so it is one of the longest stages in a WRC event. However, the next shortest stage of the Dakar is the final stage at 61 kilometers, which isn't actually that much. That's also seen as not particularly competitive. The next shortest is 120 kilometers, so 4 times what we've had today. The longest stage, well, it's the 48-hour chrono, but it's nearly 1,000 kilometers. So it's 33 times the length of this special. But what we can do is we can start to read into some of the results and see how people are feeling in terms of comfort with their cars. We can't say, oh, this car is likely going to be better here or likely going to be better there, because drivers are usually just getting used to driving. So we can't, for example, go, oh, M Sport are going to struggle because Carlos Sainz is a minute 14 off the pace. Because come tomorrow, that minute 14 could just be absolutely wiped out. He could win the stage by 5 minutes. But the top 3 in the car class today was Henk Lattegen, which is good for him. It's his first stage back. He took last year out after sustaining an injury. So it's good for the South African, alongside him, Cummings, to be getting that scratch. It's a nice confidence boost to start the event. Matthias Ekstrom has tended to be okay when it comes to the prologue as well. So it's good for him to show that, because it shows that the M Sport Ford Raptor still has some pace to it already. And Nasser Al-Attiyah in third. I mean, he won Rally de Maroc, so we know that the Dacia San rider does have pace. And, of course, the old ProDrive BRX entry did. The top 5 is rounded out by Rokas Baciuska and João Ferreira, with 6th place going to Baraguanaf in the Century. Though, he's not in the W2RC. Sebastian Loeb, who is in 7th, is. And that's the thing, is if you're following this for the W2RC, which not everybody is going to, it's a bit like Le Mans, not everybody does the World Endurance Championship. There are going to be some people who are high up, but they don't score points in the event. Geraint Chichery or the Toby Price-Sam Sunderland combo are another 2 of them. And likewise, Leverton and Perry win the Challenger class for the first stage, but they only win it by 4 seconds over Guerrero. And Cavagliasio, who is somebody who's a bit of a veteran at the Dakar, was in third, 11 seconds back. 4th place is Sedan, who was winner last time around. So, again, it's one of those ones of, it's cool to see how people are doing, but we don't read too much into it. So, for example, Abdulaziz Al-Kawari is nearly a minute off the pace, but the WRC veteran running for Nasser Racing and the Middle East Rally Championship champion for 2024 is fast, and we will see that over the rest of the event. And it's likewise the case of the SSVs. Hager and Eddy were the winners for Sebastian Loeb Racing, ahead of Gonzalez and De Soltrite, but the highest W2RC competitor was Sarah Price in 4th place, who ended up winning the special in the W2RC category by, 22 seconds over Alvarez Castellano. Chaleco Lopez, for example, is 5th place, but again, is also not W2RC. So this is one of those ones where you see the season-long competitors versus the Dakar one-off entrants, and you see that bit of a dissonance between it. Again, we can't read much from the prologue. And likewise with the trucks, where Van den Brink, Zala and Maciek were the top 3, separated by 23 seconds. But Maciek was tied with Soltis in the Tatra, and Leprai was down in 6th. We can't go, oh, that is a dead sign that Leprai is going to struggle with the new De Roy link-up. because that's not the case. Again, some of this advantage could just get wiped out tomorrow. But it's good to see that these drivers starting off confident for this edition of the Dakar. But let's round it out with the bikes. The bikes is usually the most competitive category in the Dakar. It's where the winning margin tends to be the smallest. It's where it tends to go down to the final stage because riders tend to run around in groups, usually paired up by manufacturer. And for Chucky Sanders, it's going to be a great start to the event. He won and got the scratch by 12 seconds from Ross Branch, with Canet in third, tied with Branch. Brybeck was fourth, and Sharena was fifth. Now, Sharena won the Prologue last year, but was unfortunate and had to abandon, I think, on the first actual test last year on the Honda. And it's one of those weird ones where in the bikes, I think the top 10 is all W2RC. Just generally, as well as in terms of RallyGP, because the top Rally 2 of Doherty was 9th. But behind Sharena, you have Quintanilla, Luciano Benavides, Edgar Van Beveren, then Doherty, then Howes, and then for the 10th place in the RallyGP, you have Bula, the hero. Then the next highest Rally 2s are Ebster and Albright. But regardless, this is a nice fun start to Dakar 2025. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. I'll be back again tomorrow with a reflection on the first proper stage of Dakar 2025. It's going to be a 400-kilometer special from Bisha to Bisha. And yeah, expect a report around a similar time. I tend to try and get these ahead of the actual Dakar report, and I might try and get some bits about the dramas in the stages as well. The Dakar's own coverage is great, but to follow all of the different categories, you tend to have to spend 10 to 15 minutes. So I'll try to get these a bit briefer. Alright, thanks for watching. Until next time, it's bye-bye for now.